Well, good morning, class. We're here for another day. So what I need you to do is you're going to pull out your other drawing that we did on Monday, and we're going to dimension it today. We're going to learn about some of the rules and dimensioning and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to switch over to my other camera and get started. So right now you see is the drawing from the architecture class. I just didn't want to move it yet. But here's our drawing. So I'm just gonna set that on there right now. I'm gonna put all this away after class. Okay? And so let's go ahead and do some cleanup. I got my pen eraser here, and I'm just gonna clean up some of these lines that I have. Okay. All right, so let's talk about some drawing rules. Now, the problem is these drawings, because they're on a 8x11 piece of paper, it does not give us a lot of space to actually dimension this properly. So, let's see, I got a couple questions going on. Remember, if you guys need to ask any questions, please just grab me on Google Hangout. I see those quicker than I do on Facebook, on YouTube Live. So, oops. I hold the paper so they don't get creases on them. All right, and then another thing I did was I brought my drafting pencils here. So if you want to get a set of drafting pencils, I can put them in the office, and you can pick them up at the end of, well, I won't go in until Monday, so I'll have them there Monday if you want them. There is this paper here, this larger paper, if you want to pick those up. But we're going to try to keep everything to an 8x11. So, all right, so I just grabbed my HB pencil, which is the harder lead, so that way it can draw lightly without leaving heavy lines that I have to erase, okay? Now, some rules when it comes to dimensioning. You want to dimension the face with the most visible parts, meaning the one with the least amount of hidden lines. Now, our part, which I still have right here, remember, it sits right here. This is the one that has the least amount of visible lines. When we go to the top view, we have that line that's missing right here, back here. And then when we go to the side view, we have this one missing. Okay, now sometimes it's unavoidable to dimension everything on that. So what we want to do is we want to probably dimension this the best we can. Now, also, we want to not double up dimension. So like if I want to dimension this whole unit, I'm not going to do it here too, okay? Now, once again, I don't have a lot of space, so this isn't the best example, but we're going to do what we can, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to draw up some leaders, okay? I'm going to come up here, and then I'm going to come up here, okay? And now, when I draw a leader, I'm not going to touch the body of the object. I'm going to come up a little bit, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just do that same thing right here, making my 90 I'm using. Once again, I'm coming up just a little bit. Okay, and I have my first leader, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and make another one off of this one. Okay, once again, what you would do is you would have a whole lot more gap. And then I'm going to make a little one right off of this line too. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw more or less a goalpost. And because I have this one here and I have that one there, I want to make sure that they are not going to interfere with one another. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line across the top. Okay. And I'm using the object line to make sure I'm kind of squared. Everything's still creaking from the earthquake. There we go. There's my first one, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw one right down here as well. Okay, so I have my 2 lines. That one's a little crooked. I'm going to put arrows. Now, there's several different methods. You can put a hash mark. You can put a bubble, or I should say a dot. I just like good old-fashioned arrows. Okay. And there we go. Now, I'm going to grab my ruler. Now remember, these aren't measured to any particular unit, so I'm just going to use the units that come out on this. And luckily enough, I have this piece. Now, how wide was it, right? It's the 9 plus the 6, right? So 15 units wide. So I'm going to write 15. Now, you want to write right in the middle of these goalposts. Okay. Now, because I have multiple measurements, if I write this one here and then this one here, it can get confused, especially with how close, that this number is going here and this number is here. So I'm going to make sure I write it in the middle. So that's about right there. Okay. And we know it's 15 units. Now, unfortunately, none of you came up with a name for these measurements. Okay. So we're just going to go 15. And then this one, which was 9 units, I'm going to go ahead and put that right there. Okay. There's 9 units. Now, do I need to measure this one? No, because it's the difference of those two, right? 9 subtracted from the 15, or 15, whichever. That's 6 units. I don't need to measure that. But what do I need to measure? Well, I need to know, well, where is this one located to the 15? Okay, so what I'm going to do, what you would have on here is another one. Now, you could simply come off of this line, but there's a problem with this. And I'm going to draw it in so that way you can see. Is my leader line overlaps the object line. And at all possibility, you don't want to do that. So where is the best place to make this measurement? Well, actually down here, okay? And once again, this is a really tight paper. So our next widget will actually be smaller. So that makes it easier for us to draw. Okay, so it's gonna be down here. So I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna draw off of that object line a small leader. Okay, and I have my other leader there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and make a match using the object of line. Now, once again, I'm just doing this lightly. Okay. And then what is the length of this unit? Well, that's 12. I'm going to write that one in dark. Nice, good penmanship. Okay. Now, what other measurements do I need? Well, I need to know how tall it is. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So all these measurements are based off of here. Okay. I know how far this is, okay? But there's some measurements I don't know, like how deep is it? How tall is it? So I got to make those measurements, okay? So I'm going to go ahead, and now I don't want a dimension on the outside of the product. Okay, I want a dimension, try to keep all the dimensions in between the drawings. So another good place for this 12 unit down here, I wish this camera would work better. Once again, help me get my subscribers so I don't have to use this lame web camera. Okay, so if I didn't have this 12 unit here, I could put it from this line to this line, but I'm going to a hidden line. Okay, a preferable is always to go to a solid line, and then secondary is a hidden line if all else fails. Okay, so I could have put this one there, but I was out of space, so hence it was there. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and dimension these on this side, and then the depth, so this one and this one on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and draw leaders. Now I'm going to find a problem here, and I'll go ahead and show it, and you guys probably figured it out by now. Draw that one. That one. Whoops. And that one. Okay, so what's my problem? My leader lines are crossing one another. So I could, theoretically, would be the better option is to come to this one. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this leader line away. And this is why we draw lightly. And I'm going to go ahead and take it to this edge. Okay? Interesting, my lines don't line up. Oh well. We'll worry about that next time. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw my line here. And I'm going to draw a full line. Okay, and then I'm going to draw this smaller dimension line. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I've got to draw this one in. I'm just going to freehand it. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and erase some stuff. So this leader line doesn't interfere with that one or that one. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, so how tall was it? Well, see, I'm even missing this measurement, right? So I'm going to go ahead and finish that one. Yeah, my drawing's off a little, but that's okay. That's what happens when we use a bunch of inaccurate things. So I'm going to put my little arrows in. Oh, I didn't put my arrows down here, did I? And I like filled in arrows. It makes it easy to spot where the line's leading to. And I got some more erasing to do. Okay, and generally what you want to do is you're going to erase where you write. And because those happen to be a little darker, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay? So we know the height of this first one is 3 units. So I'm going to write it this way. So you notice all my writing is in line of reading it. Okay? And now we know this was 3, and then this was 5. Okay, so how tall was it? The full height. Well, the full height was 8. So this was 6, 6, and 2. So do I make that out 2? No, I'm going to make this 8, and it should actually be right here. Okay, 8 units. I'm going to try to erase. There you go. It's one nice thing about if you use drafting pencils, and I drew light, it erased the line, but it left the number. Okay, so there we go. I now have height, I have width, I now need to do depth. Okay, now we had some issues, right? I can't draw on this side. I don't want to draw this way. Well, where can I put my depth measurements? Where else does it show depth? Meaning from face to the back. Well, right here, face to the back. Okay, so I'm going to put my measurements right here. Now, I am going to make a leader line that is going to cross each other. That is better than a leader line crossing an object line. Okay, there's just sometimes that you cannot get away from doing those things. Okay, and I'm going to look at how far apart from this. Okay, so this one's about here, this one's about there. So I'm going to do the same thing. So the first one's going to be this measurement. I'm going to do the small one. You always do the smaller measurements closer to the object. Whoops, that is close. And then your larger, or the overall, you go above it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that one. There we go. Okay, I'm going to erase this leader line so it doesn't conflict with other stuff. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and draw that back in. There we go. So how wide, deep was this? Well, it's the same, right? This one was 3 units. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and put that right there, 3. Okay, and then the full unit was 9. So I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to go ahead and put my arrows in. So an arrow there, an arrow there, and an arrow there, and there. So there we go. I have now dimensioned my product. I now know how deep this is, because it's right there. I know how deep this is, because 3 subtract 9 is 6. That tells me that is 6 units right there. Okay. I know how tall this is, okay, because it's these two numbers. So it's 8 to the top. The difference is 2, plus that 3 makes 5. So I know that, okay. I know the depth of this cut. Okay, it is 3 units up, and it is 3 units in, right there, 15 from 12. Okay, so where's my next measurement that I might need to know? There's one more. Anybody figure it out? Okay, I'm gonna let you guys figure it out. There's one dimension. Now you can figure it out mathematically, but it would have been one that I would have drawn in. Okay, so there you go. That's what I need you guys to do today. Make sure that you have added your name, just to autograph your work, that you have your name on there. Okay. Now, originally I would say have your name on it, so that way when we meet back on May 1st, we would have this. But as we've learned, we are not returning to school again. We are going to be doing online learning until the end of school. So without state testing, without this is just a base grade on what you're doing. Okay? Oh, there goes the wow again. So yes, just keep up. We're going to keep them simple, just 2 drawings a week. As you can see, what we'll do is we'll do 1 drawing, we'll draw it on Monday, and then we'll dimension it on the following day. Now, for Monday, you will need, and it's going to be kind of interesting, you will need some change. You'll need a quarter, you'll need a nickel, and you'll need a penny. Because we're going to do circles, and it's just easier that we all use that as our unit of circles for making our measurements and stuff like that. So once again, a quarter, a nickel, and a penny. Okay, so I will see you guys on Monday. If you have any questions, I'm still on Google Hangout answering the questions. And please turn in your photos. You have until Saturday night to get these in. Okay, I want a photo of you doing the drawing prior to the dimensions, and then a picture of them afterwards. Please, you will be graded on the quality of your writing and the lines. So please do them nicely. All right, I will see you guys on Monday.